I have 20 subscribers and I am about to tell you exactly what I would do if I was starting a YouTube channel from zero in 2026. I know how that sounds, but just give me 30 seconds before you click off because I want to make a case for why someone like me, someone who is literally in the middle of figuring this out right now, might actually be more useful to you than the guy with 800k subscribers telling you what worked for him in 2021. Here's the thing about that guy. He is not wrong, but he is also not starting from zero in 2026. He is looking backwards through years of experience, through a completely different algorithm, through a YouTube that honestly doesn't exist anymore. I am looking at the same thing you are looking at right now in real time. And I have been studying this obsessively. What's actually working now? What the old advice gets wrong? What I wish someone had told me before I uploaded my first video. So this isn't a how I grew to a million subscribers video. I can't give you that. What I can give you is this. If I had to start completely from scratch today, knowing what I know now, here's exactly what I would do differently. Step by step, no fluff. Let's get into it. So let me give you some context first, because I think this is important before we get into the actual stuff. A lot of the YouTube advice you will find online, the big videos, the big creators talking about growth, most of it was figured out between 2018 and 2022. That's when a lot of the rules got written. Post consistently, find your niche, optimize your titles, batch your content, and look, that advice isn't wrong, but YouTube in 2026 is a fundamentally different place than YouTube in 2020. And if you are starting now in this version of YouTube, some of that old playbook is going to slow you down more than helping you. Here's what's actually changed. The platform is more crowded than it has ever been. There are more creators, more content, more competition for the same attention. So the old approach of just showing up and being consistent, that's the baseline now. That's just the entry fee. That's not a strategy anymore. But here's the flip. And this is the part nobody talks about. Audiences in 2026 are exhausted by polish. They are exhausted by perfectly edited videos and perfectly scripted creators who all sound the same. They have been watching that for years and they are tired of it. What they actually want right now, what's genuinely cutting through the noise, is real, specific, human. Someone who actually knows what they are talking about and talks about it like a normal person. And that's actually great news for someone starting from zero. Because you don't have years of YouTube habits to unlearn. You don't have an old audience expecting a certain version of you. You don't have a style that got built for a different era. You are starting fresh in the right era. With the right approach, the blank slate isn't a disadvantage. In 2026, it might actually be a advantage. So here's what this video actually is. I am not going to tell you to post 3 times a week. I am not going to tell you to find your niche and stay consistent. I am not going to give you a 10-step checklist that sounds good but feels impossible to actually execute. You have seen that video probably multiple times. That's not this. What I want to do instead is walk you through exactly what I would focus on if I was starting completely from zero today. Not theoretically, not based on what worked 5 years ago, but specifically what I would actually do in this order now, knowing what I know right now. And it really comes down to 4 things. First, why building a reputation matters more than building a channel. And most people have this completely backwards from day one. Second, what your first 10 videos are actually for, because it's not what you think. And once you understand this, the pressure of early videos completely disappears. Third, a mindset shift around who you are actually making videos for. This one thing changed how I think about every single video I make. And fourth, the one thing I would genuinely do differently. Not a tactic, not a hack. Just one honest answer from someone who is in the middle of this right now. These 4 things won't go viral for you overnight. I am not going to promise you that. But if you are starting from zero and you want to build something that actually lasts, this is the foundation I wish someone had laid out for me before I started. Let's get into the first one. Okay, so the first thing I would do differently, and this is the one that I think trips up almost every beginner, including me, is this. Stop thinking about the channel, start thinking about the reputation. Let me explain what I mean because that might sound a bit abstract. When most people start a YouTube channel, the first thing they obsess over are, what should I name it? What should the logo look like? What's my banner going to be? What's my niche? What colors represent my brand? And they spend days, sometimes weeks on this stuff before they have even made a single video. I did this. I spent time on the name, on the look, on trying to figure out what my brand was. And none of that moved anything forward. Not a single subscriber came from my logo looking clean. Here's the reality. Nobody is subscribing to your channel because of your banner. Nobody is staying because of your color palette. People subscribe to people. They stay for people. The channel is just the address. You are the reason they came. So instead of asking, what should my channel look like? The question I would start with is this. What is the one problem I can help someone solve better than most people talking about it right now? Not a niche, a problem. Specific, real, something someone is actually sitting there struggling with and typing into the search bar at 11 p.m. Because when you build around problem instead of a niche, everything gets clearer. Your video ideas gets clearer. Your titles get clearer. Your thumbnails get clearer. You stop making videos about everything loosely related to your topic and you start making videos that actually mean something to a specific person. And in 2026, specific always beats general. Always. Think about it from the viewer side. If you are struggling with something and you find a channel that speaks directly to exactly that thing, you don't care how many subscribers they have. You don't care about the logo. You think this person gets it and you subscribe. That's reputation. That's someone knowing what you stand for before they even click on your about page. And the beautiful thing about building reputation first is that it compounds in a way that chasing aesthetics never does. Every video you make that genuinely helps one specific type of person adds to the reputation. Slowly, people start associating your name, your face, your channel with that problem. And when they have that problem or when their friend has that problem, they think of you. That's how small channels get loyal audience before they get big numbers. So if I was starting from zero today, before I touched the logo, before I finalized the name, before I spent an hour on the banner, I would sit down and answer one question. Who is the one person I am making this channel for? And what is the one problem I am solving for them? Everything else, the branding, the aesthetics, the channel art, that stuff can evolve. That stuff will evolve naturally as you grow. But if you don't know who you are talking to, and what problem you are solving, no amount of good branding will save you. Build the rep first. The channel will catch up. Okay, so the second thing, and this one genuinely changed how I think about making video, is this. Your first 10 videos are not for the algorithm. They are not for views. They are not for subscribers. They are not even really for your audience. They are for you. And I know that sounds like a cop out, like something people say to make beginners feel better about getting no views. But just stay with me for a second because there's something real here. Think about any skill you have ever learned, not watched someone do, actually learned yourself. Maybe it was driving, maybe it was cooking, maybe it was a sport or an instrument or anything physical. And think about what the first 10 attempts looked like. Were they good? No. Were they supposed to good? Also no. Because those first attempts weren't performance, they were practice. They were you figuring out the basic mechanics of the thing before you could even think about doing it well. Making video is exactly the same, except nobody tells you that. Instead, what happens is you watch creators who have made 500 videos and they are smooth, they are confident, they know where to look, how to phrase their sentences, when to pause, how to explain something without rambling. And you think that's just how they are. Like they were born like that. They were not. That's 500 videos of practice showing up in every frame. And you are on video 1 or video 3 or video 7 and you are comparing your practice reps to their performance. And then wondering why you feel like you are failing. That's not failure. That's just not knowing what the first 10 videos are actually for. So let me tell you what they are actually for. The first 10 videos are for figuring out who you are on camera. That's it. Full stop. Not going viral, not cracking the algorithm, not building an audience. Just who are you when a camera is pointing at you and you have something to say? Are you naturally funny or naturally serious? Do you like talking fast or do you prefer slowing down and being deliberate? Do you like telling stories or do you prefer being straight and direct? Do you feel more comfortable when you script everything or when you just talk loosely from bullet points? You cannot answer any of these questions by thinking about them. You can only answer them by making videos and watching them back. And yes, watching yourself back is painful. I know nobody likes it, but it's the fastest feedback loop you have. Because every time you watch one back, you will notice one thing that felt off. Maybe you kept looking away from the camera. Maybe you said 40 times. Maybe you rushed through the interesting part and spent too long on the boring part. And then the next video, you fix just that one thing. Not everything, just that one thing. And then the next video, you fix one more thing. And by video 10, you are not the same person on camera that you were on video 1. Not even close. The improvement is so significant that if you put video 1 and video 10 side by side, you almost won't recognize yourself. That's what the first 10 videos are for. So if I was starting from zero, I would go into those first 10 videos with zero pressure about performance. Zero. I would not care about the views. I would not care about the algorithm. I would just ask myself one question after every single video. Did I get significantly better than the last time? That's the only scoreboard that matters in the beginning. And the moment you switch to that scoreboard, making videos stop feeling like a test you might fail and starts feeling like a skill you are building. And skills compound every single time. Okay, so the third thing, and this is the mindset shift that I think matters more than any tactic or any strategy or any algorithm, is this. Stop making videos for an audience you don't have yet. Start making videos for one person who actually exists. Let me explain what I mean by that. When most people sit down to make a video, especially in the beginning, they are thinking about reach. They are thinking about how many people might watch this, how many people might share it, whether this could be the video that blows up. And that thinking, that reach thinking, actually makes the video worse. Because when you are making a video for everyone, you are really making it for no one. You start talking in the vague general way that doesn't really speak to anybody specifically. You cover too much ground because you are trying to include everyone. You lose the edges, and the edges are where the interesting stuff lives. But when you make a video for one specific person, everything sharpens. And I don't mean one person as a metaphor. I mean literally one person. Someone you can actually picture. Maybe it's a friend who is going through something you know well. Maybe it's a younger version of yourself. Maybe it's someone who left a comment or sent a message that made you think, okay, this person needs to hear what I know about this. Picture that person. Know what they are struggling with. Know what they have already tried. Know what kind of answer they are actually looking for versus what kind of answer most people give them. And then make the video for them. Just them. Here's what happens when you do that. The video gets specific, and the specific videos do something that general videos almost never do. They make the viewer feel seen, not informed, not educated. Seen. Like someone actually understands their exact situation and made something specifically for them. And that feeling of being seen is what makes someone subscribe. Not a good thumbnail, not a perfect title. The feeling that this creator actually gets me. You cannot manufacture that feeling by optimizing for the algorithm. It only comes from genuinely making something for a real person with a real problem. Now, here's the interesting thing about this approach. When you make a video so specific and so genuinely useful for that one person, other people who have the same problem find it and feel exactly the same way. Because problems are rarely unique. The person you pictured is never the only one with that problem. They are just the one you use to make the video sharper. So you make it for one, but it reaches the many who have the same problem and never felt like anyone was talking directly to them before. That's how small channels build audiences that are genuinely loyal before the numbers get big. Not by casting the widest net, by throwing the sharpest spear. And there's one more layer to this that I think is really important. When you are making videos for one real person, the motivation to make it is different. You are not making it hoping it performs. You are making it because someone needs it. And that shift in why you are making it changes the energy you bring to it completely. You have probably felt this yourself in normal life. Think about the difference between giving a speech to a room full of strangers versus explaining something you care about to a close friend. Which one feels easier? Which one sounds more natural? Which one actually lands the friend conversation every single time? That's what making videos for one person looks like. And that natural conversational energy is exactly what audiences in 2026 are desperately looking for. So if I was starting from zero today, before I thought about titles, before I thought about thumbnails, before I thought about getting anything strategic, I would ask one question for every single video. Who is this one real person this video is for? And what do they need to hear that nobody else is saying clearly enough? Answer that honestly and the video will almost write itself. Okay, so this is the last one. And this is the one actually I debated including because it's not a strategy, it's not a tactic, it's not something you can put on a checklist, but I think it's the most honest answer I can give you. So here it is. If I was starting from zero today, the one thing I would genuinely do differently is this. I would stop waiting to feel ready. That's it. That's the whole thing. And I know that sounds simple, almost annoyingly simple, like something you would see on a motivational poster and scroll past. But just hear me out because there's something underneath this that I don't think gets talked about honestly enough. Here's what waiting to feel ready actually looks like in real life. It looks like spending 3 weeks on your channel name instead of making a video. It looks like buying a new microphone before you have used the one you already have. It looks like researching the perfect posting schedule instead of just posting. It looks like watching 10 more how to grow on YouTube videos, including this one, instead of going and actually making something. Every single one of those things feels productive. They feel like preparation. They feel like you are getting closer to being ready, but they are not preparation. They are delay. And the difference between preparation and delay is really simple. Preparation has an endpoint. Delay doesn't. Real preparation is making the first video. That's it. Everything before that is just delaying wearing a productivity costume. And here's the thing about feeling ready. It doesn't come before you start. It comes after. Always after. Nobody sits down before their first video feeling completely confident and prepared and ready to go. Not a single creator you watch today felt that way before their first upload. The confidence came from uploading anyway. The readiness came from doing the thing before feeling ready to do it. I remember before I uploaded my first video, I had about 15 reasons why it wasn't quite ready yet. The lighting wasn't right. The script needed one more pass. I wasn't happy with the thumbnail. And underneath all of those reasons, if I am being completely honest, was just fear. Fear that it wouldn't be good enough. Fear that nobody would watch. Fear that someone would watch and think, who does this guy think he is? And you know what fixed all of those fears? Uploading it. Not because the video was great. It wasn't. Not because it performed well. It didn't. But because the moment it was out there, the fear putting it out was gone. And that fear being gone made the next video easier. The first upload doesn't need to be good, it just needs to be exist. Because a bad video that exists will always teach you more than a perfect video that lives forever in your drafts folder. So if you are watching this right now and you have a video idea sitting in your head or a half finished script on your phone or a topic you have been thinking about for weeks, but haven't started yet, that's the thing. That's the one thing I'm talking about. Don't wait until the camera is better. Don't wait until you feel more confident. Don't wait until you have figured out the perfect niche or the perfect posting schedule or the perfect version of your channel. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Start today if you can. Because the creator you want to become, the confident, clear, comfortable on camera version of you, that person is not waiting on the other side of more preparation. They are waiting on the other side of more videos. And the only way to get there is to start making them. So let's come back to where we started. 20 subscribers. A channel that's just getting going. Someone sitting here telling you what they would do if they were starting from zero. And look, I want to be real with you about something before I wrap this up. I don't have the success story yet. I can't sit here and tell you I did all of these things and 6 months later I had 100,000 subscribers. That's not where I am. That's not my story right now. But here's what I do have. I have the clarity that most people don't have when they start. I know what the mistakes look like before I make them, or at least most of them. I know what the valley feels like. I know what waiting to feel ready costs you. I know what it means to make videos for everyone and reach no one. And I'm building with all of that from the very beginning, which means this channel right now at 20 subscribers is being built different than most channels that start. Not better because of talent, not better because of equipment, better because of clarity. And I think that's actually more interesting to watch than a highlight reel. Because here's the thing about success story videos. You are watching someone who already made it tell you how they got there. And that's useful. But there's a version of this that's even more useful. Watching someone figure it out in real time. Watching the decisions get made. Watching what works and what doesn't. Watching the valley happen and watching someone choose to keep going anyway. That's what this channel is going to be. Not a highlight reel. Not a look how far I have come story. A live document of someone building something from scratch with everything that involves. The wins, the slow weeks, the video that flop, the ones that somehow connect all of it. And if you are building something too, if you are at zero or close to zero and you are trying to figure this out, then this channel is for you. Because we are figuring out together at the same time in the same era of YouTube. That's not a weakness. That's actually kind of rare. So if that sounds like something you want to be part of, subscribe. It's right there. We are just getting started, and honestly, the early episodes of any journey are always the most interesting ones to have been there for. And one more thing, I want to know where you are right now. Are you at 0 subscribers? Are you thinking about starting but haven't yet? Are you already in it and trying to figure out the next step? Drop it in the comments. Just tell me where you are. One sentence. Because I read every single one, and honestly, knowing who's watching makes every video I make after this one better. This is video 2 for me, and I'm just getting started. So I will see you in the next one.